Welcome back, friends. Here we are with our second week into the new year.
Yes.
What have we had planned this week?
So we have a little bit of a deterrence, we had something planned for this week and it didn't arrive on time, first of all. And also we have bitter cold. So part of that project means we have to be outside in our workshop doing preparations for the project, like sanding and whatnot. You can't do that when it's below zero. It was, 8 below zero today?
Yeah.
8 below zero. It did warm up slightly to 0, folks, but it's still way too bitter. So because of that, we had to put off our project a bit. So we also have other pending projects. We have a project in the works for this project coming up next week is actually for our finished basement.
Right.
We're going to bring back a living space. And we're going to take the sofa we have upstairs and bring it downstairs. But we had to order a sofa for upstairs, a lot smaller that goes more with the scale of the room. But to do that, it takes time to come in. So between that and the weather, because we're also doing a project that is something that was passed down to me that's really special. We'll show you that next week, that we've reinvented a few times. And we're going to reinvent it again.
Yeah. And
that goes in our room. So because of the weather and because of waiting for something to arrive, we had to put that off. But we're also, while all this is going on, we're also slowly working on another project. We're making a storage closet in our finished basement because the one we have now is going to eventually become a bathroom, which will take a few years probably. But because of that, we have all these lingering projects going on and we needed to rein it in. But also, a beautiful thing presented itself this week.
some gorgeous snow.
Yes.
We got about 5 inches or so of snow, and we just decided to really enjoy it. There's some footage coming. I think we can show you some footage of the snow after it fell, because it fell during the night.
Yes.
So we didn't really get to film it falling, but after it fell, everything was gorgeous. All the trees and everything with the snow on it. Absolutely beautiful. So there's some footage of that coming up.
Yes. So with that footage coming, a beautiful opportunity presented itself to make this another relaxing video. And frankly, folks, we were beat. We're really tired because, like, what you don't see behind these videos are other projects that are pending at the same time.
Yes.
So we thought this would be a good opportunity to take our own advice and relax a bit.
Yeah.
So enjoy this hygge feeling through the winter.
Yeah.
And so in doing that, we wanted to show you that snowfall, like Paul said, and we have a recipe that we're doing this week, which I was going to show you anyway, but it's a favorite recipe of ours. We do a lot, especially when we take a cold winter hike. Not that we're doing it this week, it's way too cold. But if we do a winter hike or in any time of the year, honestly, but especially in the winter, we love these energizing granola bars.
Oh, I love granola bars.
Yeah.
Great.
So we're going to make that this week. And it's a very simple recipe. Has quite a few ingredients, but it's very, very simple to make. And of course, we have that. And we also have a project that you're working on for the upcoming holiday, Valentine's.
Right, cute little project. So hopefully that project turns out well. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are our projects this week. And the pending ones that are kind of in the background happening right now. We're excited about those, but in the weeks to come, we'll show you that. We do have more decorating. I'm going to put that along with our week next week when we show our decorating of our finished basement and kind of a couch move around. And when we do that, I want to show you some of the decor that we put out. We keep it very simple as we're not really into a lot of little knickknacks everywhere. So it's going to be a very simple decor. We're getting more and more into minimalism, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of our vibe now.
Yeah. So we're going to show you that a little bit next week. And in the weeks to come, we'll show you when we finally get to finish this closet, we'll show you that. But this week, just sit back, grab yourself a warm cuppa, and enjoy this relaxing video.
Let's get into it.
we're going to make a granola bar for a snack today. Something to have during, honestly, any time of year, but in the winter we really love it when you just need a little boost of energy. If you go on a hike or if you're just hanging out at home, it's a great snack. And this is a very healthy granola bar. So I guess it could, I'm thinking about the ingredients, it probably could be considered keto. So we have a 1/3 cup of the almond butter. You want it creamy and you want it natural. The only thing in your almond butter should be almonds. That's all. Maybe if it has almonds and salt, that's okay if you don't have an issue with salt, but you definitely just want that. You don't want any palm oil in it or any sugar, nothing. Just a very simple, basic, healthy almond butter. Then we have a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 2 tablespoons of the pure pumpkin. It's like a puree. The 1/4 cup of monk fruit sweetener. You can use coconut sugar if you're a paleo, but the monk fruit sugar right there. And it usually has some sort of, sometimes there's a mix of monk fruit and erythritol. That's fine as well. 1 egg white. We have that there. You just want to separate your egg and you just want the white. That's going to help bind the bars together. 1 teaspoon of the vanilla extract, 2/3 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, the 1/4 teaspoon of Himalayan pink sea salt. If you have an Ocean State job lot near you, you can find it there. You can find it in any grocery store just about, but you want Himalayan pink salt. It's very good for you. Then I have some flaked coconut. You want it unsweetened. It's probably about a 1/4 cup right there. What I had left on hand, I put in there. But you can use up to 1.5 cups because it just if you like that coconut flavor, kind of either way about it, but that's what I had left on hand. 1.25 cups of almonds. I did use the salted because I prefer the salted and roasted. I really like the flavor. It's a little bit richer. And then basically all I did was chop up those almonds. But what you can do is you can use sliced ones as well, but I particularly like those. I like whole almonds and I like cutting them up. Again, I like the salted roasted kind. And then we have 2/3 cup pecans. Chopped pecans. So they're already done for you. You can chop them smaller, but I like that they're in big chunks like that. 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds or pepitas. I always get organic for that. Get organic with anything you have as much as you can. Now, I also add hemp seeds to it. It's about a 1/4 teaspoon, but it's not just hemp seeds. I have a hemp seed chia mix. And I love that, and that gives it a little bit of a crunch, and it's very good for fiber. It's very good for you. You can add different things. You can add chocolate chips. I added what I had left of it was probably about a 1/4 cup of dried cranberries, and I get organic dried cranberries. I use this brand. I'm not affiliated in any way. They're not sponsoring. I just want you to see what I get. I got these at our Super Walmart. It's organic. And it's whole cranberries, so dried cranberries. So I have that, and I just like, especially in the winter, I like a little bit of a cranberry touch. You can add chocolate chips. Just make sure when you do that, make sure it's not loaded with junk. The chocolate chip should absolutely, sorry, my oven is preheated and ready to go. You're going to have chocolate chips, or you can have blocks of chocolate that you can chunk up by cutting them into big chunks. The thing with that is just make sure when you do something like chocolate, you may want to put it towards the end so it doesn't have chocolate all throughout the bar and doesn't become a chocolate bar. So I tend to avoid that when I'm doing something in the oven. Sometimes I'll do that with my granola and it really does take over and kind of melt. So particularly in this case, unless you want something like that, I'm just using that. You can also put in like maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of sunflower seeds, whatever you prefer. Those are just options, but this is a basic recipe that I like, and again, I like to add the cranberries. So here we go. So we're going to put this on a medium heat, and I'm going to put in my almond butter, my coconut oil, my pumpkin puree, and my monk fruit. And we're going to stir that around and cook that on the medium heat until that monk fruit sweetener dissolves a bit. You don't want it to, you know, burn on the pan. So you really want to have it on that medium heat and watch it, stir it constantly, and wait for that sugar to dissolve. So now that we have it dissolved, we're going to take this off the burner, shut that off, and we're going to let it sit for 3 minutes to somewhat cool. We don't need it perfectly cool, but we just want to cool it a little bit and let that sit. So I'm just taking it off the heat, and we're going to let it somewhat cool, just for 3 minutes. So now that it's cooled for 3 minutes, we're going to put in some pumpkin pie spice, and you can make your own. There are plenty of recipes on the internet that you can see, but then we have the Himalayan sea salt, the vanilla extract, the egg white, and we're going to whisk it in together. Now we're going to stir in our coconut, almonds, pecans, pumpkin seeds or pepitas, our hemp chia mix, and our dried cranberries. We're going to stir that all around. I usually use a little rubber spatula. So now we're going to pour this into, basically it's an 8x8 glass pan. I like glass because it's not toxic. Some of this non-stick I question what they're made of, especially if they have Teflon or non-stick of any kind. So basically, oops, a little almond butter on me. So we're going to take all of this with a spatula. We're going to pour this into a pan. We're going to line it with parchment paper, that glass pan. I probably should have told you that earlier. Sorry about that. But you line a glass pan with parchment paper. I'm going to spread it. And we're going to compress it down in the pan. It will be a little gooey at first, but don't worry, it'll bake. We're going to stick it in the oven for 15 to 18 minutes, depending on your oven. So they're finished, and for some reason this time they came out so gooey they're kind of falling apart. So we tried to kind of mush them together. I did stick them in the freezer for a bit, but not long enough. But anyway, they taste delicious. So even if you just crumpled it up and put it over yogurt or whatever you wanted, maybe you wanted to treat it like a granola, in time too it will dry up a little bit. It's a little bit gooey from being just out of the oven. So I cooled it off a little bit. Maybe it needed more cooling time. Normally when I do something like this, I give it a lot more time to cool, but also I would maybe, just so you know, if you remember in the beginning, it usually calls for 1 1/4 cups of coconut, and I only had about 1/4 cup. So it is more gooey. It doesn't have a lot binding it together. What you could do in a situation like this, knowing ahead of time if you're low on coconut or whatnot, or you're not a big fan of a ton of coconut, which I'll be honest, I'm not totally a big fan of a ton of coconut. I don't mind it here and there, but what you could do is maybe add some sort of an almond flour just in the mix a little bit. Maybe instead of a cup of coconut. I don't know for sure, I've never done this, but you could try to do like maybe a cup of almond flour, and that might help dry it up a little bit and bind it a little bit better together. That's a thought. But anyway, the whole point is this is an energy bar. You can crumple it up. You can use it. I'm a little disappointed as I really wanted to show you a good recipe. It's getting to the end of the video and end of the day, so I'm not going to do it again, but I wanted to show you, even with fails, it can still be okay. These particular bars I cut smaller so they'll hold together a bit, but we like little bites of things. But this particular recipe is quite good. What you could do is just put it in yogurt or crumple it as a granola, and there you go. But anyway, they taste very good. They're good for you, and we hope you enjoy it.
Hi there. Very cold day today. I'll be working in the workshop today. I've got this scrap piece of wood from an old sewing machine. Got a craft project going on with it. I can't bring the camera in there. The lighting's not great. There's not much room. So I'll show you what I can do with this momentarily. Let's go. There we go, folks. Just in time for Valentine's Day coming up. Gina's got a little idea to put this together for our living room. These are just little beads from the dollar store and some extra screws I had on hand from something or other.
Paul had stained it for me, and then I put the white paint over it, and it was just not doing what I wanted it to do. So I'm just sanding it a little bit down just to get some of that white paint to somewhat show through. And I'm going to water down a little bit of paint. Just going to scoop a little. I don't really want to pour it in because I just want just a slight bit to get almost like a whitewash. And there's still a little bit on the sponge brush. So I just want to water it down. And I'm just trying different effects to see what I like. And I'm going to let it saturate the wood. Get in there. I'm just going to keep messing with it until I find what I like. So this is just a watered down version. And now the rag that I have the stain on, I'm going to take that and rub that in. So you have like a whitewashed stained look. And some stain will come off in heavier spots with it. And it just kind of lightens that wood. The thing is, a lot of this wood, when it was stained, it's great, but it unfortunately matched the coffee table too much, and I wanted this to stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to keep messing with it slightly until I come up with what I like. But the whole point is to get that white coming through, and I didn't want it to be perfect and showing too much. But again, I want to right away start wiping because I'm trying to, blend it together. Not that I'm going for that driftwood look that I was doing before. I mean, I kind of was, but I love that each piece comes out slightly different that we do. And I'm kind of digging what it's doing here. And you can see it's coming through heavier in certain areas. And you just keep, and again, there's so much stain on there that it just still keeps coming through, even though it's been sitting here for a little over an hour, this rag. So it hasn't dried up or anything. And I'm just trying to get that look. So I want it to look worn. I want it to look older and worn. And I think I like what I'm doing here. So it has like the wood and it almost looks like it's older and it's wearing away. And I like that worn away look. On the other side, it's, stained well. And we put the little, so these particular feet here were little beads, like wooden beads from the Dollar Tree, and Paul had screwed them in because we just wanted little feet. But I love this this look here, and the edges are nice and stained, but the top I wanted it to stand out because it's going to be on a coffee table that was literally the same stain. It just would have disappeared. So this way it stands out, and we really like that muted down look, worn, older look. We don't really want it to be just a paint. So, and the stain again would have looked great, but if I had a different colored coffee table. So here we go. With that, I think we're pretty satisfied with that. What do you think, Paul?
I like it.
Great. So we both like it, so we're going to go with this kind of worn look, this older look, this rustic look. I'm going to close up shop here. Close all these. And sometimes you just have to mess with the stain and the paint and the color until you come up with something that you like. So we are going to let that dry slightly, and then I'm going to bring it upstairs and put it on our coffee table.